Ladies and gentlemen, we are no longer in Kansas anymore. This isn't the Kansas effect. It's actually the Cali effect, where we run around and make deck profiles and tell people, I am your father. And Cosmo is just that fun deck. Its ability to make some extremely powerful boards, such as Cyber Dragon Infinity, Cosmo Dark Lady, and a plethora of other monsters, is just too strong. You can say that this deck is one with the force of making awesome boards. I'm the Cali Effect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, then go and destroy that subscribe button. But more importantly, if you're gold like a metal foe, get it? Metal foe, gold? Then go ahead and hit that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. I also want to give a shout out to every single one of my Patreons. Without you guys, these videos would not be possible. We have two new Patreons, Jordan Yates and Xavier Dayro. Welcome to the squad. I'm excited to have you guys aboard. If you guys want to see more content from the Cali Effect, you guys also should check out my Discord as well as Instagram and of course my Facebook page. We have some awesome things cooking up and growing from there. Also have cards for sale if you guys wanted to know about that. But without further ado, I present to you a competitive Cosmo Metalfoe deck profile for the July 2018 format. We're golden, boys. We're golden. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so looking at the stats of this Cosmo deck, one thing I want to emphasize about this deck is its attack and raw power. The ability to drop huge monsters on your side of the field is going to be your best friend, and the power of this deck, being able to make negations like Cyber Dragon Infinity, Cosmo Dark Lady, being able to make disruptor cards like Metalfoe's Mithrilium, as well as Metalfoe's Orichalc, is just something that this deck does so well. The only problem with this deck is consistency, and I'm not saying the way you can consistently make boards like this, I'm saying that you're one or two hand traps away from not looking in the best spot you want to be. I want to say that this deck is a local level event, but I wouldn't be surprised if any Cosmo Metalfoe variant would top a higher level event, and I'll be able to explain to you why we run certain choices, why we don't run certain choices, but even more importantly, I will tell you why Han Solo shot first, because we all know what happened. Amber, Han Solo shot first.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
I need factual evidence.
Bro, he was holding on to a strap before he even, before anything went down. Bro, he shot first. All right, whatever. On to the monsters. We're going to start off with one copy of Cosmo Dark Destroyer. This is probably the strongest card in the Cosmo deck, but unfortunately it is limited to one. Had it been at 3, we probably would have went with a more pure route because we could have justified it being a slower paced deck with having such a boss monster like this. When it is special summon, you can target one monster on the field and destroy it. The next best thing about all Cosmo ships is that when they are destroyed, whether it's by an opponent's card effect or by battle or by your own card effects, you can banish them from the graveyard to spell summon a Cosmo monster from your deck to your side of the field that is a level lower than the card you destroyed. So Dark Destroyer being able to tutor any Cosmo monster to our side of the field is pretty important. Another great thing about Cosmos that it has over the meta is that its meta is very targeting, but Cosmos are okay with that. Your level 6 and higher ships, or your level 5, or I'm sorry, your level 7 and higher ships cannot be targeted. So Dark Destroyer is a 3000 monster that can replace itself as well as not be targeted. Really problematic for a lot of tier 1 decks to handle with. 3 copy of Cosmo Forerunner. Now, this card is the Millennium Falcon of the deck. Get it? Because it's actually the Millennium Falcon. Okay, anyways, this card is actually really good in going into time. It, of course, has the same properties of Dark Destroyer, can't be targeted, and also when it's destroyed, you can spell summon a level 6 or lower Cosmo monster from your deck to your side of the field. But more importantly, the reason why it's so good is because during your standby phase, you can gain 1,000 life points. Now, I want you guys to picture this. You guys go into your standby phase, time is called, you're down by 2,800 life points, and you have 3 of these monsters on the field. You're going to shortly win the game by gaining 3,000 life points in that phase. 3 copies of Cosmo Sliprider. This card is extremely important to this deck. Reason being is that when it is special summoned, you can target one spell or trap card on the field, yours or your opponent's, and destroy it. It helps really well with all of our combo pieces, getting certain Metalfoe cards to the graveyard, getting certain field spell cards to the graveyard to trigger off their effects. 1 copy of Cosmo Delta Ship. When this card is summoned, you get to send 1 Cosmo monster from your deck to your graveyard. It's also a really important card for almost every single one of your combos because there are certain Cosmo monsters you need in your graveyard. 1 copy of Cosmo Dark Lady going into the pilot monsters. The pilot monsters are all psychic and they all have the ability to special summon a monster or a Cosmo monster that is higher than their level. So Cosmo Dark Lady can banish herself to special summon any of the Cosmo monsters that are as a higher level than her. And they also inherently have another great effect. This one, by paying 1,000 life points, you can negate the activation of a monster effect and destroy it. So it's a pretty good card. Next is 2 copies of Cosmo Sword Troopers. This card is extremely busted. Cosmo Sword Troopers effect allows you to special summon a Cosmo Psychic monster at the cost of 1,000 life points from your graveyard to your side of the field. And then lastly, with the Cosmo Pilot monsters, we run 2 copies of Cosmo Strawman. What Strawman does is that you can pay 500 life points to target a banished Cosmo monster and special summon it to your side of the field, but its effects are negated. Now, a lot of Cosmo enthusiasts probably want to know, first of all, where's Cosmo Tin Can? Secondly, where's Cosmo Farm Girl? To be honest with you guys, to like just put it blatantly, Cosmo Tin Can sucks. And I'm going to be able to explain to you guys in detail why a Cosmo Tin Can based Cosmo deck won't be as successful as almost any other variant. So the reason why Cosmo Tin Can was so good is because during the end phase, you get a free Cosmo card and you can later abuse those cards. Also, another great thing about Cosmo Tin Can is that the other Cosmo cards that went to the graveyard could be abused by cards like Call and Hunt, Back to the Fourth, so on and so forth, to gain monster effects. Now, we're in a Yu-Gi-Oh! A place in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where that's just too slow. To wait all the way into your end phase to gain advantage, there are cards that just do that so much better in other archetypes. Sky Striker Mobilize Engage, immediately getting you a draw after you have 3 spell cards in your graveyard and fueling itself 2-4 more plays. Goki monsters immediately searching from the deck to the hand after they are sent to the graveyard. We're in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta where cards are just way too fast for you to wait until the end of your turn to start gaining advantage. Both Strawman and Sword Troopers allow you to gain significant amounts of advantage just by paying life points. And they're really good at that, allowing you to tutor monsters to your side of the field and making some really dangerous combos on your turn. Now, obviously, if you do brick, having Cosmo Tin Can will probably be the best Cosmo monster to have. But then again, if I brick, there's nothing that a Cosmo Tin Can would do to save me. You guys could say that Cosmo Tin Can is just garbage. I think R2-D2 would say best about it. That is it for the Cosmo monsters. Again, I think that this is a really solid build. I actually was running 2 Sword Troopers, or 3 Sword Troopers and 3 Strawmen, but seeing these monsters are monsters you don't want to see. You want to destroy your ships to search into them to continue to combo off with each other. Another thing I wanted to talk about was Cosmo Farm Girl. I would have ran her. I would have ran 1 copy of her if I had the room. This is a 46 card deck. And the reason being is because while Farm Girl is restricted to your battle phase, Farm Girl plus any like ship, like Forerunner, is an OTK. What you would do is attack with your ship, attack with the Farm Girl searches Dark Destroyer to summon Dark Destroyer to its side of the field, then destroy your Forerunner to special summon any other Cosmo ship, it doesn't really matter, any Cosmo card, and then you have enough damage to attack for game. But as much as I'd love to run that, I just didn't have the room. On to the next cards, we run the Metal Foe counterparts. 2 copies of Metal Foe Stealing, 2 copies of Metal Foe Silvered, 2 copies of Metal Foe Driver, and 2 copies of Metal Foe's Volflame. Now, these cards are the knight in shining armor of the deck. They still provide resources to allow you to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Get it? Steel, because they're metal. This deck is just golden, and it has a flame resource of puns. All right, I'll stop. I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, what these cards do is provide extra destruction on your Cosmo ships to allow you to continue to cycle through your combo. They actually work really well with the deck because the biggest thing that I have with this deck is gaining resources off of destroying Cosmo Town. Like, activating Cosmo Town in normal Cosmos just isn't good. Unless you're destroying it with a card like Slip Rider or Twin Twisters, you're not really gaining advantage. But these cards not only can get you a free Pendulum Summon, can make Electromite, but they can abuse Cosmo Town to get you further into your strategy, adding cards from your deck to your hand and setting other Metal Foe cards to your side of the field. Next, to complement that, we run 3 copies of Rescue Rabbit. Ironically, this deck does not need its normal summon to combo off. So when you start to go through your combos and after you destroy your cards, summoning Rescue Rabbit and then activating it to make an Electromite, and then following up with the Electromite to abuse your resources and destroy more of your Cosmo ships, it's extremely good. We also run 1 copy of Rescue Hamster. This card is also good at procuring resources because it allows you to add those monsters from your extra deck to your hand. And then 1 copy of Fire King Avatar Garunix. We do run a very small Fire King engine, and it allows us to continuously abuse the fact that we can destroy our Cosmo ships and get deeper into our combo. Lastly, for the monsters, we follow with 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. I felt that going second with this deck, if you don't have a hand trap, you're in a pretty not so great situation. So playing some sort of hand trap would be good. Effect Veilers, whatever, it doesn't matter what you guys can afford. Playing a hand trap is going to be really beneficial for you. So that's it for the monsters. Let's get on to the spells. We have 3 copies of the Land of Oz. You can look into the Cosmos that it is odd that we're in the Oz. Okay, that's just not good. But what this card does is that once returned, we can target one of our banished Cosmo monsters and add it to our hand. When we lose life points equal to the monster's level times 100. More importantly, when Cosmo Town is destroyed, you can search one Cosmo card from your deck to your hand, as well as Cosmo Town being able to shuffle Cosmo cards in your hand to the deck to draw additional cards. It's really good for unbricking your hands in case you draw multiple ships you don't need, or even if you draw cards like Strawman and Sword Troopers. It's just an amazingly powerful card. 2 copies of Fire King Island. This card is amazing. It's almost like that time where Han Solo's ship dropped onto the island to fight. Never mind. Anyways, basically what this card does is it allows you to pilot through your engine. It destroys cards in your hand to add Fire King cards from your deck to your hand, which means that if you destroy a Cosmo ship in your hand, you're allowed to trigger its effect as well as search a monster. Obviously, we don't necessarily want to have the brick in our hand, but it's not necessarily a bad brick because it's a level 3 monster that we can use for Exceed and Link plays. Next, to get into our field spell cards as fast as possible, we run 3 copies of Terraforming and 1 copy of Set Rotation. Set Rotation is actually pretty nifty because we can give them the island and destroy the island, or we can give them the Cosmo Town and destroy the Cosmo Town to our advantage. This is a really good card in here. Next is 3 copies of Call By to the Grave. I hate being hand trapped, so this allows us to keep going into our combos. And then this card is also really powerful in the deck as well. You pay so many life points by the time if you draw this card, it's instantly free. 3 copies of Emergency Rescue. And this card is just amazing. First of all, when you start using your Cosmo combos off, you're going to start paying life points, meaning that if you open up first, your life points are going to be lowering to your opponent. This is actually a bridge between your Cosmo cards and your Metal Foe cards because it's going to be able to search you Rescue Rabbit, which allows you to then go into your plays. It's just a very, very great card. It allows you to play 5 copies of Rescue Rabbit, 3 copies of Rescue Hamster if you need to, and then 1 copy of Metal Foe's Fusion. This is the only Metal Foe spell card that we play. The quick play is good, but not in this specific variant because we don't rely on having multiple Metal Foes on our opponent's turn that we can fuse with. If we're going to fuse right then and now, and this is the best one to do because it goes back inside of our deck. Obviously, after activating it and using its effect from the graveyard. Lastly, for the traps, we only play 2, which is 2 copies of Metal Foe's Combination. This card's really powerful because you can destroy it with your Slip Rider to gain a search, and you also can flip it face up, destroy it with your Metal Foe's monsters and gain another search. You can destroy it with Fire King Island to gain a search. It's just really good at allowing us getting searches, getting us so many resources as well as gaining effects. That's it for the main board. For the extra deck, we play 1 copy of Metal Foe's Myth William. This card is so trill. It's probably one of my favorite cards. And when it came out in Secret Rare and Legends or Relentless Revenge, I just had to cop it and build a deck based around it. Basically, what it does is that you can target 2 Metal Foes cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and then target a monster or a card on the field and return it to the hand. It's really good for disrupting back row, but even more importantly, after you use your combinations cards effects, you can shuffle them back into your deck so you can further activate more Metal Foes cards. 1 copy of Full Metal Alchemist or Full Metal Foes Alcahest. This card is really powerful because it allows you to snatch your opponent's monsters and then possibly even use it for a fusion summon of your own. 1 copy of Metal Foe's Orichalc. This card is also really good. It inflicts piercing damage, and even more importantly, this card actually, when sent to the graveyard, punishes the opponent by destroying a card. We run the Cyber Dragon Infinity package because this is really easy inside of the deck to make, especially just with the cards that we play. 1 copy of Leviair to spell summon some of those banished monsters to our side of the field, and it helps with some combos. 1 copy of Galaxy Tomahawk. I have yet to summon this card. It's very possible through Metal Foe's Volflame or Cosmo Forerunner, and if you were to summon this card, there's some wacky combos with it. Borlo Dragon, this is the best link for Saryuja. This is actually the reason why I decided to play Tomahawk, because not only can this unbrick your hand, such if you draw the chicken and you don't want to draw the chicken, or if you just want to use the chicken again, making this card as powerful, and Tomahawk actually allows you to get into that. Decode Talker is just a really powerful link 3. Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, you really only need 1, but if you want to drop the Tomahawk engine, you can play a 2nd copy of Electromite. And it's also recyclable by Mythrillium. 1 copy of Summon Sorceress. This makes combos for this deck that much easier. And yes, it's legal for the TCG now. Cleatfort Genius is a savage in this deck because it can add a level 5 or higher machine monster with 2 monsters are summoned to this card where it links to. So all you have to do is make this card and then summon Rescue Rabbit and then put 2 monsters to it links, and you can have a free Dark Destroyer to your hand or whatever monster you want. Proxy Dragon, generic Link 2, and Link Spider is a generic Link 1 that we can use our normal monsters or our tokens for. You guys could play more copies of Mithrilium. You can play it however you want to. Dropping these cards is all up to you if you guys want to drop the Tomahawk Engine. I decided not to because they have more than one implication. There's a lot of times where I actually just make Proxy Dragon at the end of my combo sequence to protect my cards. For the side deck, 3 copies of Thunder King Ryle. This deck does not need its normal summon and is awesome for going first. Thunder King Ryle will disrupt my opponent. It disrupts Goki. It disrupts Sky Striker. It disrupts so many decks. 2 copies of Jinzo for back row heavy decks. I'll just Pendulum summon this card out and make my opponent pay for it. 3 copies of Great Beast of the Sky. Hear my cry. The Balls of Light will win me any fight for going second against extra link type decks. 2 copies of Droll and Lock, 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, great hand traps, and lastly 3 copies of Shared Ride. That's it for the main board, sideboard, and extra deck. Let me show you guys these test hands really quick. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so there is one overarching combo that basically this deck has built in. Any other combos or just extenders or just other ways to get 2 Cosmo Destructions on a big ship and a smaller ship. So this 3-card combo is going to net you Cosmo Dark Lady, Decode Talker, and a Cyber Dragon Infinity. And the only thing you need is Fire King Island, Cosmo Slip Rider, and Forerunner. Now, there are so many combo variations into this deck. That's why I'm showing you guys test hands as well as some combos. So first you're going to activate Fire King Island and use the effect to destroy the Cosmo Forerunner. I'm going to be going a little fast to add the chicken from your deck to your hand. And then you're going to trigger the effect of your Forerunner. That's going to go ahead and special summon Cosmo Strawman to your side of the field. Use Strawman's effect to pay 500 life points to special summon Cosmo Forerunner to your side of the field. And then banish Strawman to special summon Slip Rider to your side of the field and activate Slip Rider's effect. Slip Rider will destroy your Fire King Island, destroying both of your Cosmo monsters, and then special summoning 2 additional monsters to your side of the field. The first monster that you guys are going to want to special summon is Cosmo Delta Shuttle. The second monster is Cosmo Sword Troopers to your side of the field. Use Delta Shuttle's effect targeting any of your monsters, or any monster for that matter, to send another copy of Cosmo Strawman from your deck to your graveyard. Then you are going to activate Cosmo Sword Troopers effect, paying 1,000 life points to special summon Strawman. Strawman's effect to special summon Cosmo Forerunner back to your side of the field. The next thing you want to do is normal summon your Fire King Avatar Garunix and use both your Sword Troopers and your Avatar for an Exceed summon. Those 2 monsters are going to make Leviair the Sea Dragon. Use Leviair the Sea Dragon's effect to special summon Cosmo Strawman, and then Strawman's effect to pay 500 life points to special summon the Slip Rider to your side of the field. Furthermore, you're going to use Strawman, Leviair, and Cosmo Strawman, Leviair, and Strawman, my apologies, sending all of those monsters to the graveyard to summon Decode Talker to your side of the field. Lastly, both Slip Rider and Delta Shuttle to make your Cyber Dragon Infinity by first making your Cyber Dragon Nova, and then of course your Infinity. During your end phase, your Forerunner will be destroyed, and thus allowing you to special summon a Cosmo Dark Lady to your side of the field. So this 3-card combo is going to end you up with 3 additional cards in your hand: Infinity, Decode Talker, and Dark Lady. And again, depending on the other cards that you have in your hand, the sequence could be a lot different. So let's show you guys some test hands. All right, guys, so we're going to be showing you guys a pretty quick combo, pretty quick test hands for you guys. I hope that this test hand is going to be enough, and I hope it's a really good test hand. So we're going to open up with Terraforming, Cosmo Forerunner, Cosmo Slip Rider. That's really good. We already drew the combo that we need. Emergency Rescue Rescued. I'm just going to keep butchering that card's name. I don't know how to say it right. And a Metalfoes Volflame. This is actually going to be a really interesting combo sequence. Of course, I'm going to try to blaze through it as fast as possible because I'm not trying to have you guys sitting here forever looking at this combo sequence. So I'm going to go ahead and Terraforming into the Fire King Island. Island to destroy Forerunner to add the chicken to my hand. And then Chicken's effect to special summon a monster to my side. Or, I'm sorry, Forerunner's effect to special summon Strawman. Strawman to special summon Forerunner. I think I'm going to do it a little bit different, abusing my Cosmo monsters. I'm going to go ahead and activate Volflame in the scale, destroy the Fire King Island instead of special summoning the Slip Rider to set the Metalfoes combination. I actually want to start finishing up with a Pendulum Scale, so we're going to destroy both of these monsters. This one getting banished and that one going to the graveyard. And that's going to special summon Cosmo Sword Troopers to our side of the field. I like him right here. Sword Troopers effect is going to special summon Strawman. And I think that's where we're going to stop right there. We've actually paid life points, so I can activate whatever this card's name is. And I'm going to go ahead and show 3 Rescue Rabbits. You guys should already know that I play 3, so I'm going to go ahead and add that 1 from my deck to my hand. I'm going to normal summon the Rescue Rabbit, and then use the Rabbit's effect to banish itself. It's not in the graveyard, it's banished. And I want to summon 2 8s, because I know I want to use Volflame's effect, and I want to add... I still want to be able to Pendulum Summon. So I'm going to special summon 2 Steal-ins to my side of the field. And I guess it doesn't matter where I put the Electromite, as long as I put it in the extra monster zone. So we're going to link summon for Electromite. Electromite's effect is going to add Hamtaro, or should I just call him Wrecking Ball, or should I just call him Hammond? Add Hammond from the deck to the hand. And we're looking pretty good. I think we can do a huge combo sequence if we, do this correctly. I have used Volflame's effect. Let's go ahead and put a sticker right there. I'm going to use... Nope, I haven't used Strawman's effect. I'm going to use Banish Sword Trooper to special summon Cosmo Slip Rider to destroy my combination. That'll get me the low scale that I need to Pendulum Summon with. Let's get the Gold Driver. Next, I'm going to activate the Gold Driver in scale. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to activate the Gold Driver in scale and use the Electromite to destroy the Volflame to add the Hamtaro. Electromite is going to get us a draw because we added Hammond. Okay, that's a lot better than I expected. Now that changes the combo sequence yet again. I want to really go off right now. I'm going to go ahead and activate the Cosmotown. I don't want to use it yet. We're going to activate the Hamtaro, banish the Hamtaro. Add 2 Steal-In. Activate one of the Steal-In. We have 2 Metal Foe Scales that we can use. Oh, I got to think about this, guys. I got to think about this one. All right, so it took me a second to sit down and actually think about this combo. I know it felt like nothing changed, but I had to actually go through it mentally in my head. So what you are going to do is that you are going to actually Pendulum Summon, and we're going to Pendulum Summon the Metal Foe Steal-In and the Metal Foe's Volflame to our side of the field, and then we're going to use the effect of Metal Foe Steal-In to destroy the Cosmotown. Now, that's not important to do right now, but I'm going to go ahead... Actually, no, it is important to do right now because I'm going to need Metal Foe's Fusion from my deck to my side of the field, and then we're going to search Cosmo Dark Destroyer off of the destruction of Cosmotown. This is where things will get a little bit more interesting. I'm going to go ahead and activate my Metal Foe's Fusion, fusing both of my Metal Foe's monsters to special summon Metal Foe's Alcahest, or Full Metal Alcahest, to my side of the field. And then, what are we going to do? I'm going to use Cosmo Strawman's effect to special summon the Cosmo Forerunner to my side of the field. I want you right here, actually. And then I'm going to use the Gold Driver to destroy the Cosmo Forerunner to set a Metal Foe's combination to my side of the field. That's going to trigger the Forerunner's effect to special summon, you guys guessed it, Cosmo Sword Troopers back to my side of the field. Now, before I go any deeper, I just want to mention that both Metal Foe's Electromite and Cosmo Strawman are now useless. So we're going to go ahead and link both of these monsters away, seeing that they're both psychic, to special summon Summon Sorceress to my side of the field. I'm going to activate Summon Sorceress to target the Slip Rider. That's going to special summon Delta Shuttle, and we're in a very good position using both the Delta Shuttle and the Slip Rider for an XE play to make Cyber Dragon Infinity. Now, we're not done right here. We could have just the Destruction, a Negation, and a monster to take another Disruption card, but I'm going to use Sword Trooper's effect to special summon Strawman, Strawman's effect to special summon Cosmo Forerunner, and then I am going to... Oh, one more thing. Actually, we have one more thing. So, yeah, we would have the Dark Destroyer for the Destruction. The Forerunner would special summon the Farm Girl. But let's add this Metal Foe's Fusion back from our deck, or to our deck to draw a card. Now, we run 6 copies of Disruption cards with inside of Called by the Grave and Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. If we draw one of them, you guys have to subscribe. It's going to be really exciting. I hope we draw one of them because that just makes the ultimate combo. We've already got lucky with the Cosmotown. We draw... Oh boy! Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring! We drew it, so that means you guys have to subscribe because watch this. During the end phase, Cosmo Forerunner gets destroyed. That's going to special summon our Cosmo Dark Lady to our side of the field. I don't think there's anything I can do with any of these, but I do have the ability to banish one of them to special summon Cosmo Dark Destroyer. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 disruptions inside of this deck, as well as some solid recovery through Metal Foes combination. We actually have the chicken. We can summon the chicken to use it as an XC play for Sword Troopers. So I want these actually right here to use it for an XC play of Sword Troopers. We have so much just flat out disruption. 5 disrupts is just too strong. Even without the Ash Blossom or the Call Body Grade, we have 4 disruptions. So that's just amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a like to let us know that you guys did. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.